Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am Advocate Tulo Hoyani, your usual host. Hey, the Meyiwa thing will never come to an end. I think I'll have to commit all my videos just to making follow-ups and comments on this trial because every time I look through the evidence, there's always something to pick up. This time, let us just look at the so-called confessions which were made in that trial. Now, what is a confession? A confession is a statement, right? Rather, let us not look at confessions. I've already dealt with that. Let us look at the pointing out. I confused the pointing out with confessions. I am here dealing out with pointing out. There are a lot of pointing outs which allegedly were made by the accused persons of the crime scene and so on. This was subsequent to their arrest and when the investigation was going on. So, but this pointing on out have been denied by the accused persons. And, well, the evidence when it came before court was brought in the strangest manner I've ever seen in a criminal trial. It was brought by Brigadier Ginda. Ginda was led by Balui to go through the many albums indicating the various pointings out by the accused persons. In the first place, Ginda never took those photos. Ginda never took those photos. He found them in some photo album somewhere in the investigation docket, and it is clear, or it is common cause, that those photos had been taken by somebody else. Now, that disqualifies the Ginda to say anything about those photos. It is not for Ginda to come and give the court hearsay evidence to the effect that photo so-and-so, photo number so-and-so says this and this or depicts this or that. Over and above that, you see Ginda putting his own spin on these photos. In other words, he seeks now to explain the photos. Photographs speak for themselves. You don't have to, come up with your own interpretations of what the photo is all about. They don't tell lies. And you don't have to embellish whatever is being depicted by the photo. But you see the court here allowing Ginda, to have a field day just explaining and explaining and explaining these photos, which he has got nothing to do with. This is unprocedural. It should not be allowed. Now, when Advocate Munisi, for instance, objected, to Ginda's many explanations, the court simply says, oh no, you have the right to cross-examine. Of course, the defense knows it has got the right to cross-examine. But whenever an irregularity crops up in court at any stage of the proceedings, the defense is entitled to stand up and object. That objection cannot be stopped on the basis that the defense still has the right to cross-examine. Anyway, that is the demeanor of Judge Ratamukhatlin. That is how he has been conducting this case throughout, with that obvious bias to the prosecution. Now, having made that objection, and the judge having replied in the manner that I've just indicated, you find that no ruling is made. Judge Mukhatlin doesn't make a ruling. He seems to just moves on like a steam engine, He doesn't make rulings. When there's an objection in court, the defense will stand up or any other party will stand up and make that objection. Having made that objection, the defense has to reply to that objection, and then the necessary ruling by the court is made. And all this is recorded and forms part of the record. None of this is happening. Judge Mukhatlin just says, you have the right to cross-examine. You have the right to cross-examine. Of course, the defense knows it has a right to cross-examination. It is curious why he's not making these rulings following these objections so that the objections become formalized and properly recorded as part of the proceedings in this trial. I am saddened by what I'm seeing here. These things are so unprocedural. And, the lectures that Ginda is giving to everybody else. But Ginda hardly knows any English. He's so convinced that, he's articulate and so on and so forth. But he can't even, he doesn't know that you corroborate evidence. You don't collaborate it. He keeps on saying to collaborate evidence. Ginda, learn some English. The word is corroborate. And you corroborate evidence. You don't collaborate it. Anyway, Ginda is having a field day, and Advocate Balui, also for the prosecution, comes up with, I don't know whether the objections or what, but he keeps on trying to educate the defense. Who needs education from another colleague? He seems to, in that condescending attitude, to say, I would like to refer my learned friends to this and this, as if the defense doesn't know that. That's a condescending attitude. And apparently it is to educate the court. That is why Advocate Minister says, well, if he wants to educate the court, let him come up clean and say, I am standing up to educate the court. He mustn't pretend to educate some of us. And Minister told him off. Just told him where to get off, because Minister said, I don't need any lectures from him. I don't need any education from him. I am sufficiently educated. So there you have it. These paintings out are admitted as evidence with the interpretation of Ginda. This is irregular. These are some of the matters, which will set the 5 men in the dock free when the judgment is made in this trial, and they are probably found guilty and they go on appeal. Thank you very much for watching, and please kindly view my videos as you usually do, and kindly subscribe. Thank you very much.